Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Indie Books International Q&A on how to market with a book and a speech. And today, the focus is on speaking. Devin and I are going to talk about being paid to speak. And then we're going to open it up for questions on anything about writing a book, publishing a book, promoting a book. Today, it's about getting paid to speak. And the objective of a book is to get right fit prospects into your pipeline, people that you can have meaningful conversations with, enroll. David and I are coming out with a book on that topic, enrolling clients. So what leads to those conversations? Well, a book is the number one marketing tool. Talking about the book, speaking, is the number one sales strategy to get prospects into the pipeline. That is what we have found in our research in the last 20 years. Now, a lot of us will speak for no fee. We'll waive a fee to speak if it's a right group, if it's a target-rich audience. So we'll do that and we'll waive it. I get that. I've even paid to speak, and sometimes it's not so much a fee to speak, but it's, well, you're going to have to buy a ticket to attend the event to be one of our speakers. It's a strategy some groups have. Well, if it's a target-rich environment, I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people and my authors get pushed back like, well, I'm an expert and I have a book and I should be paid to speak. And at the very least, my entrance fee should be waived. I think it's the wrong attitude. What business do you know doesn't have to pay for marketing? So it's part of an expense. If it's the right group, you're also going to pay for your flight to there. You're going to pay other things to be in front of that group. But it's an investment. You're making a business bet that this is a good group to speak in front of. So there's that. There's this other group, though, that unless you get paid, you can't speak to that group. In other words, they won't put you on stage unless you deserve to be a speaker. Nona Prather and I have come out with a book this week called 24 Ways to Get Paid to Speak. And you can get it right now for 99 cents on Kindle. We're having a Kindle special this week because we're looking for verified purchase reviews. We want people to get the book and then give us a review on Amazon. We're trying to get up to a couple dozen reviews here in this month. So that's important. It's important for all of us. This topic is important for all of us who want to get more right fit prospects into that pipeline. And we're working on speaking. We're working on getting better at speaking. We also need to work on this business of speaking. Oh, I see Nona's in the house. Good. I'm going to turn this over to Nona for a few minutes. Nona, tell them about the book. I was just setting it up that there are certain stages, unless you qualify to be paid to speak, you won't be put on that stage. For CEOs, for example, CEOs of companies from 5 to 100 million, I'm a certified Vistage speaker, and Vistage International pays me, and they'll pay travel. They don't pay my full $5,000 fee. They'll pay a fraction of that. And I'm willing to accept it to get in front of CEOs of companies in that range. But you can't speak for free for Vistage. Your first speech is free to see if you qualify, but you have to be a paid speaker. There are other groups that I couldn't get on their stage in front of them. I know ESPN paid me $3,000 once to talk to their executives. Yeah, would I've talked to them for free? Probably, to generate more business, but that check, I happily cashed it. And unless I was that person, they wouldn't have put me on that stage. So Nona, Devin, I'd like you to pin Nona, and Nona, I'd like you to spend 5 minutes or so on the book and the advice that you're giving people. And then we're going to open up for a Q&A, and they can ask you a question or me a question or Devin a question. Nona, glad to see you. Take it away.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I'm glad I came on. I am sorry I was a couple minutes late because I just got off another call. But yeah, so our book just launched on May 1st. It's going really well so far. But it's all about how to set up your speaking business to get paid to speak. And a really important thing, like what he was saying, is think of where the individuals that you want to speak to congregate. So associations are a really great place to start. Your local chamber is a great place to start if you're looking for business owners. And not everything is always going to be the big bucks like the $10,000 keynote. They may only pay for your travel to come in, or it may only be a breakout session, but you know that the individuals in that room is going to be a target rich environment for you. So we really specialize in not just the big keynoters, but we really specialize. This is really for consultants, coaches who are looking for more high paying clients. So to get in front of all those CEOs like he was talking about. So like we talk about the Speak Monthly methodology in here about how you should be speaking once a month to keep yourself up to date, to keep your networking going. That will lead to more paid engagements. So maybe not everything's a paid engagement right away. Podcasts are not paid, but they lead to more engagements. And so I also talk about who are the decision makers in here. It's not the meeting planner. There are other individuals. It depends on a corporation who it's going to be. Executive directors are associations. So those are the people that you want to get in touch with. And so, yeah, I think that's it. There's a lot of good tips in here about how to get paid to speak, different avenues, what you need to be able to set up. You need a one sheet, your demo video. You need your website, your LinkedIn message, network, follow up is basically the big key. Go to all of those events that you want to be active in, that you want to speak out, get to know their speakers, get to know their event planners, because it is all about relationships and getting on the stage to eventually get you to that paid speaking engagement. It took my dad years and years and years to become an expert in the safety industry. And now you go to any electric utility company, everyone knows his name because he was able to become that expert on who is responsible for safety. So that's what I try to teach everyone. It's pick a lane, pick a niche, go really deep into it, and look for any and all opportunities. Like Henry says, if you get asked to speak, even if it's not a high dollar paid, don't like look at who's going to be in the audience. So I think that's about it.
Thanks, Nona. And Devin, why don't we go to full view? Oh, you're ahead of me. Thanks. Does anyone have a question for any of us?
I just would like to make my comment now.
Okay.
I started reading Nona's book and I wound up being up late, going way beyond my bedtime. It is such a wonderful read. So thank you so much, Nona. I can't wait for a signed copy.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get those in the mail next week. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Dr. Pam. Yes, Elias.
Everyone, and Nona, hi, good to see you. It's been so long since our last conversation. So for everybody, Nona and I chatted yesterday, and I do have a question which could maybe be helpful for everybody else when it comes to putting that piece together of a demo reel. As I mentioned in our call yesterday, I have webinars that I've led for other organizations, a course that I'm teaching, and so on. And we talked a little bit about the need to have myself on a stage as being part of that demo reel. Whereas one of the sample demos that you showed me was sort of like, I couldn't tell whether it was a real interview or a mock interview, but it was like this snippet of whatever it was that she was passionate about, intercut with sort of B-roll of like other little things. So what would sort of be, right? Because the last thing I want is something to really look kind of homemade and like, oh, here's like me, like on a random stage that's at my kid's school or whatever. So best practices to get together a demo reel we could be proud of. That's what I'm really asking.
Yeah, I tell everyone to always be updating every event you go to, and every event you go to that you're going to be speaking at is going to be recorded. You want to be as most up to date as possible, adding more B-roll and everything. It's really great because if you are unable to do that and you're brand new, you haven't had an availability to do that. I mean, use your phone and go to one of your local areas. Like you can you can find stages at hotels, performing arts centers, high schools will, during the summer, they're open, get in touch with someone and say, hey, can I just come make a quick video? And meeting professionals are only looking for 1 minute. And they don't have to have like all the bells and whistles. They just want a short demonstration on what you look and sound like on stage before they actually bring you in. Like that's the important. How do you engage the audience? You're not just going to stand there behind a podium reading a PowerPoint. They want to make sure that they're getting their bang for their buck. In this day and age, you have to have a demo video or you're going to get passed over for sure. So, but yeah, you can do it really easily. And then also me and Henry have mutual client, Patrick McGowan. I actually have started sending people to him to get their demo reels edited. And he's been really good at doing that for pretty cheaply. So like you just send him the raw footage and then he makes it look really pretty and professional for you with like the voiceover and everything. So yeah, I've been sending people to him. I have a collection of people who can help make it look really professional, even if it's just a raw recording from your phone.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm
Thank
going
you.
to jump in. Elias, another way to do that is Judy Carter, who wrote the Comedy Bible and the New Comedy Bible that we published, and an expert in the speaking field, believes that it should be under 2 minutes. And you start it with doing an on-camera under 2 minute narration. Okay, that's the base. And then you have the editor like Patrick put in B-roll clip of you speaking. So we had collected for a couple of years me speaking at an AFLAC conference and at a hotel and something at UC Irvine and all that. So then they put that in, and then also like a Ken Burns video, there might be something I'm talking about like Hollywood, and the editor put a shot of Hollywood and then panned it. So it's not a cheesy type of thing. And to Nona's point, I don't think they get to the second minute because they hear this big galoot talking about business development and they see me on stages and go like, okay, I interviewed speakers bureaus about getting our authors placed. And they said, your authors, wow, they sound very smart and impressive. I'm not going to put any of them on stage or offer them to a client until you can show me a video of them in front of an audience and they're getting good reactions from the audience. Another version is I had my editor take a few of the speeches and put together clips, and it was all my laugh lines. And it was under 2 minutes, but it's me saying things and the audience laughing. So just you want to be able to deliver 4 things as a speaker. 1, make them think. You can all do that. That's the easiest thing to do. And authors can make people think. The next 3 are harder. 1, tug at their heartstrings, get them where they might, have a tear in the eye about the story. 2, make them feel noble about what they do. And then 3, the funny bone, make them laugh. Make them laugh on purpose. That's what Judy Carter's books are about. A lot of people are naturally funny. You need to be funny on purpose and to be able to replicate that. I used to do PR for a famous chef. And he said, the difference between a great cook and a great chef? And I said, no. He says, well, a great cook can make a great meal. People do delicious. They might never have that meal again. A great chef has to replicate it exactly each time. So if you come every year for your anniversary to have duck l'orange, that duck l'orange tasted just like it did last year and just like it did on your first wedding anniversary. It's that. Well, a great speaker has to be able to get those emotions out at every speech. So we just can't rely on being extemporaneous or impromptu, and we all need to work on the techniques there. So anyway, the point of that story, Elias, and I'm going to take Jamie next, is that those are two options you can do. The main thing is make sure it's under 2 minutes. Jamie, you had a question for the group?
Yes. So it's in order to get the attention
Oh, I'm
of
going to stop you right there.
Oh,
You
hi.
don't know who
Yes.
you are. I do.
Well,
Hi,
you're
I'm Jamie
right.
Shipley. I run a company called
Yes.
The Expressory. What do you do?
Oh,
What does
man.
it do in one sentence? It builds relationships through gift giving. What's your question?
Yes. Oh, let me start over. Hey, everyone. Thank you for the intro, Henry. Nona, in order to get the attention of some of these associations, the people making the decisions, and to put you on stage, if you have a book, we've talked about that being your business card, but if you are not yet an author, what other things work if you were going to send something?
That's a great question. Yes, I tell not all of my speakers, like 90% of them do have books, but the others I usually send them to Jamie actually, and I'll tell them, you can send postcards are a really good way because you can they're very cheap and you can put a handwritten note. And I always say, even with your book, I love to have, a sticky note with a handwritten note posted on it that just simply says, can't wait to possibly speak at your event. Please let me know if you need anything, and then your name. And just that little individual touch really helps. So yeah, postcards are really great. Jamie sends these little plaques with like inspirational quotes for your desk, things like that, just as something little, just to keep you in mind, something that they'll remember you by.
So even if I had like some, I don't know if it would be research or is it stupid to send like my Forbes article?
Oh no,
Is that too, look at me?
I don't think it is.
No. Yeah, I've
That-
sent papers, articles that you print out, and they'll say,
articles.
you can write, hey, I wrote this article I thought that might be a really good fit for you and your audience. You can write anything with a personal note like that. Yeah. And of course, if you're published in a big publication like Forbes, people are gonna be like, ooh, that's gonna catch their attention. So no, that's a great mailer, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jamie, while you got the mic, you do some speaking. There's something I saw, but I didn't get to
Yeah.
ask you about. What is that speaking that you do?
Yeah, I actually just did one yesterday. I'm doing one again Friday. But the subject you're asking about?
Or no, the group, or how they
The groups?
Yeah, what
The one is chamber.
I'm asking the
This-
question wrong. Who
Okay.
is the person who's offering you up as a speaker?
Me, no one
Oh,
else.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's yourself. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yep. Is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, I thought it might be some like speaker assistance group or something, but it's just you're doing like the
Not
rest of us
yet.
journeymen.
I am, yeah, a lot of networking, people who have kind of known me over time and know that I speak. So,
So it's been brought up with you. Nona brought it up, and I wanted to share it for years because I studied this. I started studying this when I was adjunct faculty at the university and writing it up. And I was always looking for the magic equation that got you paid to speak. And I had this dream of being paid $5,000 to $10,000 to speak. And I had given up on that dream because I couldn't find the common denominator, the formula for it. And I started getting bookings in that range. So I was paid to speak in that range. And I thought I was cheating because it all came from these relationships where people say, oh, I know a guy who could speak, Henry DeVries. And I got introduced, and then, what do you charge? 5,000 to 10,000? Let me walk you through that. And I got paid. I thought like, oh, I'm cheating. And then I realized, no, you found the formula. It's relationships. It's all about relationships. And the secret was hiding in plain sight. So it's not about strangers on the internet.
okay, so say you have that relationship and they come to you someday. had you had big, I guess, okay, let me get right to the question. If someone asks you, well, how much? Is that 5,000 to 10,000 the right starting place if you haven't had paid speaking before?
An
What's it depend
expert,
on?
an expert who's the author of a book is in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. Now, there's all different variations of that. If it's a nonprofit, like when, oh, Devin, you might help me out. Children who are dying and they have a Make-A-Wish. Thank you. Make-A-Wish. When Make-A-Wish came to me, I said of my fee, but I might, since I'm an author, I might trade, if they would buy a book, a discounted book for everyone in the audience, I'll waive my speaking fee. So there are different ways to play that game. Nona, you referred to it. Sometimes you're getting travel. I'm somebody who books speakers, and I booked them for full fare, but sometimes for our events, you know, all I can offer is a travel stipend or 2 nights hotel, or, you know, free admission to our family and friends forum. So I'm trying to offer something of value out of respect to the speaker. Did that help answer your question, or
Yeah,
did I
that's
just
great.
muddy
Thank you.
waters?
No,
Okay.
And-
Oh, you were starting to say something, Jamie?
no, I was gonna tease you and say thank you. I'll take your offer to pay for my flight, but I'm kidding.
We'll see. We'll talk. Maybe when we offer you with the Legend Award. Well, and the other things is, you know, you never know. My mom was a waitress from New York, and one of her expressions was, "Hey, if you don't ask, you don't get." And for our first Indie Books Family and Friends Forum, you know, the person who was the top of my list was Ken Blanchard, or actually somebody from the Ken Blanchard companies. Yeah, he's the greatest living business book author of all time. And I had done some writing for him, so I knew people there. So I talked to one of the editors there and said, you know, we're having this event. It's our first one. You know, it's for our newbie authors. And if we could get anyone to speak from the Blanchard organization. She said, well, let me get on it. And she came back and said, okay, I have a speaker for you. I said, great. Who is it? Ken Blanchard, she said. I said, you know, Ken's in the $25,000 to $50,000 range. And I said, oh, I can't afford, you know, Ken. And this is, she goes, no, Ken loves you. He'll do it. But it was local, so he could take an hour out. It turned out at the event, one of our authors, who was a professor from the Harvard Business School, had gone to Cornell with Ken. And they, you know, so they talked Cornell old times, because Ken was a professor at Cornell University before becoming this founder of this training company. So anyway, that was about a relationship. I wasn't asking a stranger. My joke about that is when people say, well, how'd you get Ken Blanchard? I said, well, I pulled a thorn out of his paw once, and you know, so that's from the Aesop fable about the mouse and the lion. You know, so one of my mentors said about this business, you should be eager to put favors in the favor bank. Be eager to do favors for anyone in the industry. Mark LeBlanc, my business partner, he has an expression about all the people who get an automatic yes. There are people who both when they ask us, but if we ask them, it's an automatic yes. David Goldman and I would be an automatic yes. Whatever he would ask me, you know, I would do. If it was, yeah, well, yeah, of course, hearts out to you too, and vice versa. Craig Lauder, oh my gosh, we've done a lot of that back and forth. So it's those relationships, but it's not how can I do favors for people so I can call favors in one day. It doesn't work that way. You just have to practice, as Stephen Westner says, unrelenting generosity. Sorry here. Oh, okay. So any other questions from the field on anything, speaking or books or promotion? Craig? And who
Yeah.
are you, Craig Louder?
Nice to see you. So the question is for Nona, how does getting on a podcast differ from speaking, whether virtually or in person?
Podcasts are a little bit easier to get onto. They're not going to pay you, but they hopefully it's a big enough podcast that it's in a wide audience. Like I was asked to be on a women's entrepreneur business owners podcast today. And so I said, yes, of course, because there's going to be a lot of business owners on there that hopefully will be good targets for clients of mine, but also want to purchase speakers to come into their corporations as well. So, because it's full of CEOs, executives, and things. So it depends on the podcast, you know, be a little bit choosy about what you're on. And they're just really good practice too. They're pretty fun actually, and they don't take that long to do. So it's good practice, could get it out to a lot of people. You never know what could happen.
There's a service called Podmatch, $23 a month, and it will offer up suggestions on podcasts you can go on. On my side, we had to take a different strategy in that I only have time to do 2 podcasts a month. So we got very strategic. So Jamie was very nice to have me on the podcast, but in the agency, you know, advertising agencies, digital marketing agencies, PR agency world, Jamie and I both serve that world, and offer a different service. So we realized that we're peanut butter and jelly, in the words of author Pamela Slim. And yes, I want to be on that. I was just on Sharon Torrick's podcast. She is a lawyer and she serves agencies, small to mid-sized agencies, but she's providing them with legal counsel and intellectual property. So that's another Pamela Slim peanut butter and jelly arrangement. So I would be very targeted. If you're after trusted advisors to grow your trusted advisor consulting business and helping them out, I would really look at who are the other people who serve trusted advisors and don't exactly do what you do, which is Craig helps them create a whole lead generation, lead conversion process where it's not just happenstance or getting lucky, but it's very by the numbers, and there's a playbook, and he teaches that. So there's other people, though, who help these trusted advisors with legal matters. I'm looking at David Goldman. He does a lot of work with financial advisors and lawyers. And he helps them with enrolling clients. What are other people who serve that same audience, but provide something else? As I said, like Jamie is a relationship building service through gift giving, through strategic gift giving. And I mentioned a lawyer. There's another person, Susan Beyer, who is in the research field. She helps them with research projects. And it just becomes very natural to be on each other's show. Susan doesn't have a podcast, but I put her on my TV show. I put Jamie on my TV show. So what can you do? There's who's here? Megan's here. Hi, Megan. Megan, am I right, Megan? You serve this group, but you do it with accounting and CPA services? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Give us one sentence on what you do, please.
We empower business owners to understand and use their numbers to grow profitable and successful companies.
Okay. And you serve agencies?
Yes, we
Do
work
you have
with
a
marketing.
podcast?
I do not know, but I've been on
Bummer.
podcasts.
But I do. Yeah. You should be on. Yeah. You should be on mine.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're being smart here today in that you're on the Q&As. So we view the Q&As that like Predictive ROI does and Jamie does Q&As, I do Q&As, others, as building a community. And you get to network within your community. So Craig and Jamie, if I can lovingly step on your toes, I really want when anybody introduces themselves to say, hi, I'm this, I run this company and we do this. That's short, that's not a commercial. That's just telling everybody who you are. And then I also want everybody, I should have announced it out loud, to go ahead and put your contact information in the chat. Because it's about relationships and we're forming relationships with here. And the 4 magic words in the English language are, I know a guy, and I'm doing the non-gender version of guy, just like I know an actor, or I know a, you know, can be male or female. So that's how people get also booked as speakers, is because somebody might be saying, well, I'm looking for somebody, and, you know, I'm looking for a woman, I'm looking for a person of color. And a lot of times we don't like to, you know, talk about this, but it happens that they want diversity on the stage and they don't have it. Sorry, David, they've never said to me, I'm looking for a senior citizen white guy who can talk wisdom. I'm talking about myself and you on that, you know. But for these other things, people are looking for specific things, and you can say, I know somebody. Angie, you know, pick on it. It might be a mental health conference, and they say, I want this from a lay person. Oh, well, I know an author who's a lay person who speaks to that. You know, their view of being it. One of our, I hope I'm not getting too detailed, but one of our authors had an unfortunate encounter with a grizzly bear in Glacier National Park. And he was flown by helicopter to a hospital and his life was saved. But he said the real struggle was the next year staying alive in hospitals. And he was a hospital administrator. And now he's a very popular paid speaker, and he speaks to hospital staffs and nurses and other people about what it's like being a patient in a hospital and how to improve the patient experience. So he didn't get that from a study or anything. He got that from living it. So Angie, I'm talking to you here. You know, there's value. You don't have to be the PhD to be the speaker on that or on the panel. Okay. Nona, do we have any other words of wisdom to give people here?
Sure. Yeah. Make sure if you are a professional speaker, put that on your LinkedIn page. We use that a lot whenever we're connecting, and we'll connect people on LinkedIn. Make sure to engage, comment. Articles are always great. Sharing relevant things. Yeah, just be present in social media. LinkedIn is my preferred one. Some people prefer others, but that's the one that I like. Yeah, exactly what you said. You know, someone says, I know a guy. So like I was able to get Angie one because someone said, hey, do you know someone who can speak on customer experience? And we were able to get her booked and working on another. So yeah, always be networking.
The LinkedIn, it's my preference too. And I like to reach out in a non-salesy way. So when I reach out to agency owners, it says, when I was an agency owner, I used to make big plans and watch them go horribly wrong. Now I cover agency owners and marketing for Forbes.com. If you get a chance, maybe you could check out my profile. And that's it. And then if they do and respond, I try to be giving. Now I can say, oh, maybe you'd like to pitch me on a story for Forbes. Here's, you know, send me an email and I'll give you my top secret instructions. So I always keep it light. And I've been getting clients without ever saying, would you like to have an exploratory call to find out how we could help each? It's like, no, I wait for them to say, do you have any time that we can talk? Sure. It's the carrot on LinkedIn, I think. So many people, as soon as you sign up, you get this long thing about how great they are and can we have an exploratory call. My favorite was on the first outreach was the person wanted to be my life coach. I wanted to say, I think usually you need to take me out for dinner and dancing before you offer to be my life coach. Too soon, but I didn't. I'll just say no thanks. One person I said no thanks to told me to F off. I thought, oh, glad we didn't go down that relationship road. If that's your go-to response, and I cleaned it up there. I hope you understood. They didn't. Okay. Other things in speaking, I think we should talk a little bit about a TEDx talk. And Frank King, who is a mutual relationship of Nona and I, and Frank King is an expert on getting TEDx talks. I think he's done 9, and he has certain formulas. So if you could find out, look him up and see what he has to say, or some video, and we'll probably have him on soon to have him interviewed and talk about this. He's very generous in giving information away. The great thing about Frank is he says, you don't make it about your business. You make it about a big idea. What's some big idea that could relate to your business, but anybody could get something out of this big idea that you're going to share. That's the secret. And basically you write one application, save it, create some quickie videos about what you want to talk about and have them ready. And then just look at every TEDx talk and about 9 months before the event's going to happen and see what their application process is. Nothing is standard. Each group is on its own and has a different way of doing it. If you have this one basic master that you're working from, it'll make the process fast. I booked a TEDx talk. I was to go to Arizona, and then they scheduled it for when I was going to be in Europe, April of 2021. And so I turned them down, and then COVID flared up, and I would have been willing to go to Arizona, but I wasn't willing to go to Europe in April of 2021 because you might get to Europe, but you might not get home for a while if you came down with the COVID. So the system works, and I'm getting ready to go back into there, because to say you have a TEDx talk is just a really nice piece of credibility to send a person, and not the meeting planner, as Nona said. It's the executive director of the association, or if you're speaking corporately, it's probably the VP in that area. If it's sales, it's the VP of sales you're contacting. They're the ones who want you to open or close a meeting. So working that. With that, if the last call for a question, Craig?
I want to make a comment and then seek reaction. One of the speaking strategies that I have been employing successfully is seeking sponsorships that can bring in target-rich audiences and offering to do that at no charge, or in some cases, I'm actually paying. For example, tomorrow, I've got a half-day session with 40 business owners, which I'm paying, I'll be open, $750 for, but they're a target-rich audience, and the 5 people that are bringing their clients in, I've already introduced me to 3 people, and I've gotten 2 clients out of it. And I'm giving away my book as part of that. That for me has been an incredible credibility builder. And I'm wondering if anyone else has had any experience doing the same thing that I'm doing.
I'm looking to the field first, and then if you're none, I'll jump in.
I mean, I've had the opportunities, and so far I've passed on them. But in most of those cases, I couldn't say for certainty, like, these are my people. So, you know, it may not be exactly the same. I get, it seems to be a very common thing. So have you done it before? Like, has it led to leads and in good business? It has the return?
Very, very much so. And Henry knows the data on this already. Like Henry, I'm a Vistage expert resource speaker, and I can attribute about $866,000 approximately in revenue over the last 5 years and 21 clients, which was partially attributable or fully attributable. I'm going to say partially. The fact as an author that you can walk in there with a book and use it as your business card separates you from 99% of the other speakers that they invite in. And what I've been having them do is they're buying my books for my cost, which I'm telling them $10. And they're more than happy to come in and have me speak to their target rich audience and actually pay me a little money, which, you know, doesn't pay for my time, but it's at least showing that they're investing in having me there and that there's value in doing that. So, yeah, so I'm focusing now on, this is an EOS group, and there's a Pinnacle group similar to EOS. I'm focusing on family-based businesses. I found 2 groups in the Milwaukee area, one in Milwaukee and one in Madison. They have 30 to 40 family-owned businesses. And so I'm in conversations with them about adding to their value. And because they are nonprofits, what if we split the gate? So they're promoting it. I'm making a little money and they're making a lot of money. But the reality is I'm in front of a target rich audience.
David?
Just for clarification, Craig, you're giving yourself, you're almost giving yourself away to these organizations and then in that way attracting business? Is that what I heard, or am I missing something?
I'm going to say the easiest thing to say, and I'm going to steal from Jamie, it's like a gift. And I will tell them I normally charge $4,000 to $5,000 for a 2-hour session. However, today, and because I believe in your cause, I'm willing to invest my time in order for you to enhance your relationship with your members. The only thing that I'm asking you to do is buy books at my cost for each of the attendees. Now, my cost, as some of us know and Henry knows, it's about $5. I'm charging them $10, but I'm trying to gauge their willingness to invest in having me there. And so far, it's worked very, very successfully for the last 6-7 years, thanks to Henry in the first book.
So I'll answer your question. I love that idea, and I planned on using, I'm going to do that. I love it. But I planned on using my book, getting it in the hands of Henry. Thanks for the shout out on senior citizenry. I'm so old now that 3 of my better friends are now managing partners of their law firm. So I plan to use that as soon as we can get it out. I plan to get that in their hands quickly. But before I had any books, I used to do this for those people who don't have a book yet. I used to give myself away at a Chamber of Commerce gala where I would be part of a live auction, and I would give a half-day seminar that people could bid on. I told them what the value of it was, whatever, $4,500 or whatever half a day was back in the day. And then they would bid on the live auction, and the money would go to the chamber, of course, and I'd get in front of companies that I could never get in front of otherwise. And then I would pay close attention to who was bidding, And then
Ah.
the winner got me, and then I'd call the other ones and say, listen, I'm sorry you didn't win that night. I'll make the same offer for you though. For the same amount of money that you bid, I'll come in and do the program for you. And that went very well. So well that I stopped doing it.
Yes, yes.
Do you do it for free, David, or do you ask them
Yeah.
to provide their bid to the nonprofit?
Their bid went right to the their bid went to, that's a good point. It never went to the nonprofit.
So are you doing it for free
went to
for
me, but it could have gone to the
second-
nonprofit.
second, third, and fourth place finishers who say, I'll tell
Right.
you what, if you give what you bid to the nonprofit, I will do the same for you.
That's a better idea. That's why you're so much better than I am, Greg. You're a better human being.
David, enough about me. Tell me more about me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you really think?
Really think.
Let's talk about you. Tell me, what do you think about me?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'm going to drop something in here related to all this, and it was a technique that Mark LeBlanc, who is the chairman of Indie Books International and good friend and partner, taught me. And professional speaker, president of this National Speakers Association, and he would always say to people, well, I do 2 pro bono speeches a month. Whenever he was talking to some group that, so he never said I'll speak for free, but he says I do 2 pro bonos a month, and he calls that his showcase strategy, and he credits that with building his business, and that's made millions for him, is giving 2 speeches. Now he says he would even travel across the country if it's a target rich group. He won't cross the street for a mixed bag. For him, it would be like the Chamber of Commerce. For some people, like Nona mentioned, Chamber of Commerce, great. If small business owners are who you need. Mark is after people who are professionals, who are experts, who sell their time and talent, financial advisors, strategic management consultants, these type of people. Not the florist and the wedding cake designer and this other people. So you have to know your who. You have to know your niche. But then the strategy I've seen through the years where if he's not getting those showcases, he actively goes out and networks with people saying, oh, I do 2 showcases a month for these type of groups, if you know anybody. And because I know he came to me before we were aligned, and I would send him to different places and get him booked. And could that strategy work for all of you? Okay. David, the senior citizen crack, you just reminded me of a managing partner of a law firm here in town I need to send our book to. But we graduated from college at the same time, and we were just together at spectators at a golf tournament, and he mentioned that him and his wife are going to Yosemite, and I said, oh, my wife and I, Vicki and I, love Yosemite. We went there on our honeymoon. And he said, oh, did you stay at the Ahwahnee Hotel, which is the the really expensive hotel? And I just kind of looked at him because we've known each other for 40 years. And he goes, oh, that's right. We were poor then. I said, yes, we were poor then. I said, I think we stayed in a tent cabin, and I think I had lunch at the Ahwahnee, and we debated whether we should have the side salad or not. But we've come a long way. But as you said, it's relationships. Now there's all these people and they can help you, and they can help you with speaking. I always say, if you have a new book out, Nona, Greg, David, when it first comes out, send lots of emails out that I'm looking to speak more. I'm, even pro bono, I'm looking to do some pro bono speeches to the right groups to share this important message in this book. It's not about promoting you. It's about sharing the important message in your book. And you all have an important message in your book. And Jamie, one day you will have an important message in your book if you keep hanging around with me.
Right.
Okay.
I'm
With
worried.
that, I'm going to thank everybody. Oh,
Hey,
Jamie?
wait. Yeah. Did I miss it? What is David's book?
David, what's your book?
Thank you, Jamie. I have a book called The Road to Happiness, How to Get What You Really Want. And the book that's coming out with Henry and Mark LeBlanc is called Bringing in the Business Without Sounding Like a Salesperson. And it's designed particularly for professional people who know they need to bring more business in. They don't like sales.
And further, it's about the 4 types of conversations we have with people to enroll them instead of sell them. So there are definitely 4 different kinds of conversations you need to know about. So it'll be offered for 99 cents soon, and we'll talk more about it. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been another great episode of Q&A. Devin will send out some follow-up and some links. Devin, anything to add before we close? Okay, we're all good. Thanks everybody. Have a great week.